Welcome to this Klusterbox tutorial on the automatic data entry. My name is Tom Weeks. I'm a letter carrier. I was a union steward for 10 years, and I'm the developer of Klusterbox. The automatic data entry is a very popular feature among stewards using Klusterbox. And the reason is because it's so fast and it eliminates about 99% of your data entry, and it's very fast. I know when I was a union steward, I would come home, I'd start the automatic data entry. It would take 5 minutes, and I'd have a complete. I'd have spreadsheets for improper mandates for the entire week, and every single 12 and 60 hour violation that I had for the entire week, and it was that fast. And that's, I can't tell you how nice that is when you're being mandated to work 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. You're getting mandated on your NS days. I mean, even if management does give you the time to investigate those grievances, you'd rather be at home sleeping, drinking from a bottle of bourbon at that point, because you're just being overworked. And it's nice to have the option of speed, and the automatic data entry gives you that. And if you're investigating not just one station, if you're investigating multiple stations, which I've heard some stewards doing, that's got to be a multiplier. Okay, so now to get started with this process, you're going to need the information formatted in a certain way. You're going to need the employee everything report for the entire service week, not just one day. That's not going to work. Not 4 days. That's not going to work. It has to be from Saturday, the first day, till Friday, the last day. And also it has to be a CSV formatted file. It has to have .csv, or it could have like a .xls, like it could be a like a Excel spreadsheet extension on the end, but it can't be PDF. Now, usually PDF is how stewards get the employee everything report, and that's what we've been trained to read. And Klusterbox will work with a PDF, but you will have to go through the additional step of running that PDF through the PDF converter. The PDF converter is, I gotta say, as a programmer, it was the toughest part of Klusterbox to do, and that's because it's just such a bitch translating that, extracting that raw data out of the PDF and then turning it into a CSV. But I got it done, but it's still a bit buggy, and beware. It can be buggy. If you have any problems with it, let me know, because I've fixed several problems. I've ironed out some bugs because people have told me that they existed, so it helps when people report bugs like that. Now, the rule is that management has to provide you with the information you need to conduct investigations on grievances. That's the rule in both Article 17 and Article 31 of our national contract, and it's also the rule in the National Labor Relations Act. So management has to give you the employee everything report when you need it to investigate a grievance. As far as I know, there's no rule saying that they have to provide you with multiple formats if you ask for it, or any specific format that you ask for. They just have to provide you with the information, as far as I know. So you definitely are going to need the employee everything report in the PDF format, because in the event that you appeal the grievance, you're going to have to attach the PDF format to that grievance, to that appeal. But in order to run the automatic data entry, you need the employee everything report in the CSV format. So the way I got around that is I asked for the employee everything report in both formats. And the way I justified that to management was I said, I can do this investigation in 5 minutes and you don't have to give me any steward's time to investigate it, provided that you give me that employee everything report in both formats. Now that worked for me because I didn't want to work any longer than I had to, and also management didn't want to give me any more time than they needed to give me. So it was a win-win situation for me and management. But that's not going to, some people are going to have different situations. Some people want the steward's time, and that's fine. But if you can only get the information in one format, I would recommend getting it in the PDF format, electronically, an electronic PDF file directly from tax. Management can give you the employee everything report in HTML format, in PDF format, or a CSV format. So always opt for a PDF if you only have one option. If you get the PDF on paper, then you can't use automatic data entry, because in that case the PDF converter will not read any PDF that you create from that, because I've tried scanning in a PDF, like, you know, getting the 200 pages or 100 pages of PDF on paper, tried scanning it in, and it doesn't read. So it has to be the electronic file for the PDF converter to work, and then that creates the CSV file, and the CSV file is what the automatic data entry reads. Once you get your CSV report, then you're ready to start. So why don't we start right now? Okay, let's start from a fresh install and enter in a station name, Clusterville. That's our perennial fake station. And so we're going to go to database and show that we have 0 records in there except for the station. Okay, go back and run. Okay, first, before that, I'm going to show you the just really quick, the PDF converter is right there, and the PDF splitter. So if you don't have the CSV formatted employee everything report for the entire service week, you can run that employee everything report through the PDF converter. And here's a PDF splitter. If they give you more than one service week, if they give you multiple weeks, you're going to have to split that with the PDF splitter. And you don't have to use this PDF splitter, but you can use another PDF splitter off the internet. So that would probably work too. But the PDF converter, you have to use this PDF converter. You can't just run it through another PDF converter you find on the internet, because this one is very specific, and the information has to be put in the CSV file in a certain format. So trust me, it's not going to work unless you use this PDF converter. Okay, automatic data entry. Okay. Okay, we're going to go to these fake employee everything reports, and these are reports that I made up. I filled them full of fake information, so there are no privacy issues. Because as you know, the employee everything reports are restricted information. So, okay, let's get started by selecting that. Select the station. You see this drop-down menu. If the station you want to add isn't there, you press Add Station and enter in a station name. Otherwise, you select the station from the drop-down menu, press OK. You get this prompt, press OK. Let's get out of this. OK. Search for name matches. Now this, if there are any candidates for this, you'll see some candidates found on this side, but since this is a fresh install, you're not going to see anything. So you can just click through this one too. Okay, this is entering some carrier information. And okay, we get to this input new carriers. So we're going to take some time to go through this, and specifically what you're looking at is list status and routes. NSDAs are usually correct. Sometimes if you use the PDF converter, it might not detect the correct NSDA, but if you've got the CSV file directly from management, from tax, the NSDA is usually going to be correct because that data is straight out of tax. So okay, let's take some time to enter in this information. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm going through this list and I'm finding these carriers to update. Now you have to do this the first time you do it. Let's see here. Let's go to Oliveira. Change that. Status, antenna, OTDL. So we just kind of go down the list and we find people we have to update. And like I said, you only have to do this the first time you do it because some people stay on the same list for 10 years or something. You know, they get on the work assignment list or no list and they never change. Or so and I'll demonstrate this later, but some carriers you just have to update, you know, and you can even update them outside of the automatic data entry feature. And I've also added the floater strings right here. So if you need to enter in floater strings, do that. In fact, that's probably more important. You really don't have to enter in the list status, but you really should enter in the proper route, because later when the automatic data entry inputs the rings, it will be able to detect if that carrier worked off of their string or not. And you're not going to get that unless you have the proper route in this column. Okay, once that's done, then you've entered in the work assignment list carriers, the OTDL carriers. That's all you have to do, because the default is no list, and Klusterbox automatically recognizes auxiliary carriers or PDF carriers, so you don't have to change the list there. And Klusterbox usually recognizes the route, unless it's a floater string, so you have to enter that. So once you get that done, it took me about 5 minutes or so, then you press continue. We get a progress bar here. That's updating that carrier list in the database. And the last screen, carriers no longer at station. And these could be, I don't know, usually they're 204Bs, you know, in my experience. So they're working at a higher level. They're not really carriers. They're 204Bs. So press continue, click through that. You want to automatically enter the rings. Yes. You don't have to, but you can. And this is where the program really delivers. You see those names flying by there, and that's the automatic data entry going through that employee everything report line by line, day by day, clock ring by clock ring, and entering all that stuff into the database so that it's going to be so that you don't have to enter it in. It's quite handy. So this process is going to be, I'm going to run the week after this. You're going to see that it's much faster the second time around, because you don't have to take the time to build that carrier list. You just have to update any changes that occur. Okay, you get this prompt, press OK, and there you go. There's your carrier list. Here is a spreadsheet. There it is. It's all filled out. Here's Monday and Tuesday, and here's your summary. You can see that it's captured all those violations. You can close this out. You can go to this multi-input button, like say, and see that the if you need to make any changes to somebody's NS day or what list they're on, you could do that here. Or you could go to their, you could just go and edit their status with the edit button next to their name. Okay, now let's do the next week. So it's we can press the automatic data entry button down here, or we can go up to readers, automatic data entry. Go to fake employee everything, and let's try the next week. Okay, so now you see this skipped directly to discrepancy resolution screen. So, and we didn't have the screen the last time. So we just have to resolve some discrepancies. I think sometimes what happens is carriers, they fill out those changes of schedule, and that gets codified in the employee everything report. So it shows that they have a temporary change and that their NS day is no longer their NS day. Okay, so they changed from red, so they changed to black. So let's switch that to black, and these other two carriers are out of station. So continue. And see, we even skipped these carriers no longer at station screen, and redundancies have been eliminated from the carrier list. That's a little bit of database administration there. Do you want to automatically enter the rings? Yes. Okay. And there we go. This is the second week. It was it one mouse click, you know, to change that carrier's NS day. So, yeah, you can just keep on doing this, and of course, there's going to be some information in that you have that tax doesn't have. You know, for instance, if a carrier gets off the overtime desired list, the tax report, the employee everything report, does not know that. So that's something that you can add if you need to. You could do that in the normal Klusterbox interface, or you can do it in the automatic data entry. But the automatic data entry will not give you the option of doing it, of picking the specific day. It will. You could change that status, but it will show that that status was changed on the first day of the service week on a Saturday. But if the carrier changed, they got off the list on a Monday, that's something that that's something that you would have to do outside of the automatic data entry in the regular Klusterbox interface. Okay, so, and here we go. That's about as easy as it gets. Now let's, for this week, let's generate the Overmax spreadsheet. There it is. Every single violation for that service week. Your summary. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. It's as easy as that, and that's what I was talking about. 5 minutes for an investigation. You know, I'm taking longer here, but that's because I'm explaining myself along the way. but it really is fast and simple. And but it's important to get the right type of information just to speed things up. Okay, at this point, let me take the opportunity to show the database. And the database, the records in the database reflect about 75 records in the carriers table. So that we didn't add any carrier records from one week to the next, but we did add brings, of course. So this gives you some idea of how much information is going into that database, and that's the amount of time you're saving there. Okay, well, I guess that's it for the automatic data entry. Happy union stewarding.